All right. We're going to let this percolate out. Thanks, folks who are tuning in on Facebook and YouTube. We're so excited to have you here for the Vermont Wild Kitchen as we let this kind of percolate out into the ethers. All right. So we have some viewers. Hi, everybody. My name is Shane Rogers. I am one of the hosts for today for the Vermont Wild Kitchen, and we are so excited to have you here today. We have a very special episode for you. We have Chef Jason Chin, his father, Dr. Raymond Chin, and guest host, Lai Nga Li, who are coming to you live from the Craftsbury Public House. And we are here to celebrate Asian American and Pacific Islander Appreciation Month. And we're going to be talking about watercress today. It is going to be a wonderful episode where I am going to pass over the reins to Lai Nga, and they are going to run with this episode. As always, we want to give a big shout out and a thank you to Vermont Fish and Wildlife and Rural Vermont, who make this episode possible. And we want to thank the Craftsbury Public House Empowered Magazine for their collaboration on this month's episode as well. As always, as you're tuning in, please feel free to drop questions, make comments, and share your own stories in the chat. And without further ado, I am going to pass it to the Craftsbury Public House and let you all take it away. So thank you, and we'll see you at the end of the episode.
Okay, so hi, my name is Lai Nga Li. You can call me Linda. I'm so honored here today with Jason and Ray, and it is a very special dish, and it has some special meanings today. So I'm going to let Jason talk about why we're cooking what we're cooking today.
Okay, thank you, Linda. So my name is Jason Chin. I am a children's book author and illustrator. And the reason I'm here today is that my most recent book that I illustrated is called Watercress. And it was written by Andrea Wang and illustrated by me. Now, I'm going to show you the book, and then it'll become clear why I'm here cooking watercress today. So I'll hold it up here and let me know if I have the right framing here for the camera. So the book begins in Ohio, and there's a car driving through some cornfields. And there we are. Watercress, written by Andrea Wang, pictures by Jason Chin, published by Neil Porter Books and Holiday House Publishing, and read with their permission. We are in the old Pontiac, the red paint faded by years of glinting Ohio sun, pelting rain, and biting snow. The tops of the corn stalks make lines that zigzag across the horizon. Mom shouts, "Look," and the car comes to an abrupt, jerking stop. Mom's eyes are as sharp as the tip of a dragon's claw. Dad's eyes grow wide. "Watercress," they exclaim, two voices heavy with memories. From the depths of the trunk, they unearth a brown paper bag, rusty scissors, and a longing for China. And they get out of the car and harvest the watercress in the ditch by the side of the road. And the protagonist, the young girl, is very embarrassed by this. She already feels like she doesn't belong in her town in Ohio. And now her parents are making her get her food, forage for her food, and she doesn't want anyone to see her. And then later on in the book, through the sharing of, or through her mother sharing her family history, the young girl starts to become proud of her heritage instead of being embarrassed by it. So that's Watercress. And the way I was introduced to the story was my editor brought me the manuscript. And when I first read it, I thought of my father because he has a story that's actually very similar I think, to Andrea's story. So, Dad, you want to take it away?
Sure. When I was 6 years old in the first grade, the teacher asked everyone, "What did you have for breakfast?" And people said things like cereal and eggs and toast and pancakes and so forth. And when it came to me, I said, "Ngukbyang." And the teacher said, "What?" I says, "Ngukbyang." And she says, "I never heard of that. What is that?" And she says, "Well," I say, "Well, it's meat, and you eat it with rice." And then all of a sudden the kid said, "Nobody eats rice for breakfast." Well, by then I was pretty embarrassed. And I didn't know how to explain what mukbang was. And so as soon as I got home that day, I went to my mother and I said, "I don't want to eat any more Chinese food, and I definitely don't want to eat rice for breakfast." And my mother said, "All right, well, I'll talk to your father." And it wasn't very long, maybe a day or two. I mean, a few days. And there was a bowl of cereal for breakfast, and a bottle of milk. And I was so happy that I could eat cereal with milk for breakfast. And I did that every day for a while. And then I started to realize I was getting sick more often and stomach aches. And of course, I didn't realize it at the time that, like most Asians, I was lactose intolerant. But I still kept it up. And eventually we ate eggs and toast and, the usual American breakfast. So it wasn't, I wasn't probably around 40 or 50 years old. And I was with my mother and I said, "Mom, I never thanked you for, giving up the Chinese breakfast, and you and Dad, And I just want to thank you for that." And she looked at me and says, "Oh no, Ray, thank you." And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" She said, American breakfast is so easy. I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning, and to make mukbang, now you know what it is. It's minced meat. And in those days, they didn't have Cuisinarts, so she had two, what we call them bo do, they're cleavers, and she'd have two of these, and she'd have to, chop it by hand, and then she'd have to boil the rice, and on occasion she had to scale a fish, and she says, "Oh no, thank you so much. I didn't have to do any of that anymore." And so it was kind of funny that way.
Ray is such a good storyteller. We know each other during the pandemic and on Zoom on an Asian group, and he tells such good stories. So without further ado, we're going to move to the kitchen and start cooking, and I'm going to also try to grill more story out of Ray.
I'll cut in for just a second.
Okay.
When I was growing up, another memory I have, besides that story, is one day my mom and dad found watercress for sale at the supermarket, at the grocery store, and they got really excited. So that night we had watercress soup for dinner, and I really liked it. I wasn't embarrassed by it, unlike the girl in the story. But in this story, the author, Andrea, she actually doesn't like soup very much. So she changed the dish that they eat in the story to stir-fried watercress. You can see it at and it's right there. Anyhow, she changed it to stir-fried watercress. So in order to do a good job with the illustrations, I had to teach myself to cook stir-fried watercress. So today we're going to cook what my dad taught me to cook, watercress soup. and then I'll try to cook stir-fried watercress for you based on my attempts at learning it from the internet.
Yeah.
So that's the dishes today.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
I'm there. So I was going to dive into, so what is watercress? What is so special about it? You can stir fry, you can make soup. What is this creature? What is watercress?
This is watercress. All right, can we see that? Okay. All right. And so I'm going to, and it's delicious. It's a green, and it's, how do you describe it now? It's not bitter. It's very, it's mild. It's mild.
It's slightly bitter.
Yeah, but
it's
beautiful. It's very nice.
Yeah. There's a little bit of sweetness to it.
Yeah.
It grows in shallow water.
Shallow,
You can find it, I guess you can find it in Vermont, I've heard. Since we've shared the book with people, some people have come up to me and said, "Oh, I foraged for watercress."
Really?
Yeah, and I've personally never done it, so I couldn't advise you where to find it.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
But you can, and it's farmed as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, let's start cooking.
Okay.
And,
So the beauty of watercress soup, like most Chinese soups, is very light. There's nothing heavy about it. And so you take and you just break off the stems, and you don't need the big thick ones, although you'd use those thicker ones for what Jason's going to do. But for soup, we just like to have the very tender tops. Okay.
so what is in the soup?
So I'm going to show you that. And so here is our watercress that I've prepared. And then it's very simple. What you want to have is a piece of ginger. Okay, several slices of ginger. So I'm going to cut these. And for soup, it's washed, but you don't have to peel it because you don't actually eat the ginger. Okay, so
There is a kind of like culinary debate among Chinese that do you peel the ginger or do you don't peel the ginger?
well, in some cases we do, but in this one for soup, as long as you wash the skin, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to bring it over
Yep,
here.
yep.
Okay, and we have here on the stove. And let me make sure that this is, there we go. So we're going to drop in, and if you can see it, this is about half full. Okay.
What's in
What's it
the pot?
This is a wonderful all-day chicken stock.
Chicken stock.
Yeah, fresh chicken stock. Now, if you don't have all day, then you can get a box of organic chicken stock. Very good. Anyway, so we just drop it in. Okay. That noise, I think, is the stove heating up. Okay, so that's that. So now just let that sit there, and then I like. Now, for a lot of people, all it is, and all you need is just the chicken stock.
So I'm going to, brag about myself. I'm an experienced cook.
Oh,
I don't measure. But for some people, like my husband, he has to follow the ingredient or instruction to the T. So how much is, generally the portion of how much watercress, how much
I'm like you.
ginger to stock?
Yeah, I'm like you. You just do it. You know what it is? It's just experience. You just do it.
Yeah.
And so I just know that I have about this much watercress, and I need to have about a half a pot of soup.
Yeah.
And That's it.
Yeah, you cannot really mess it up, right?
No,
This-
you can't,
This
yeah.
recipe is not basic.
This recipe is so easy. You can't mess it up.
Yeah.
Now, this is a cake of tofu, okay? And I like to add tofu to this. Not everybody does, and it's not necessary either to do it. But I'm just going to cube it.
And the beautiful thing about a lot of the Chinese cooking is you can stuff, you can substitute things, you can add things, you can do whatever to your taste.
Yeah. So there it is. I mean, if you can see that can you see the cube? And the lovely thing about a Bordeaux too. Oh, there you go. Right? And the lovely thing about Bordeaux is you can see I cut that and I cubed it and I can carry it. And I'm going to take it over to my soup and I'm going to put it right in.
So Ray, who taught you how to cook?
My father and my mother. Yeah. My mother and father. So now I'm going to pick up the other half of it. And okay, right there. Add it on. And I'm going to slide it right in. Okay. And with that, okay, let that sit for just the soup is not that hot yet. But anyway, and just let that for a few minutes, and then I'm going to put this in, and that's it. Now you salt to taste, okay?
Yeah.
And I let that, because I don't like to put too much salt. And I like people to salt their own food, you know, whatever they like. But that's it. Now, sometimes people, and you don't have to do this the whole thing, but sometimes people like to add a little sesame oil. Very good. A little flavor. And you don't cook with this now. Sesame oil you don't cook with. It's just a flavoring. It's very, very flavorful, delicious. Okay? So
with that sesame oil, you don't cross the fire, so you don't cook with it. You just
Right.
put it after the dish is done. Yeah.
exactly. So let's just say now that this is hot, and I'm going to now add all this beautiful, lovely.
Now, where did you get that today? Where's the ingredients from?
From, was it Essex? I think.
Oh, really?
Essex Junction.
It's from Asian Mart?
Yeah.
Advertisement?
Oh,
It's in Essex, Asian Mart. It's owned by a person of color. I think they're Asian. I actually don't know.
Denver.
Denver.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you, I have a story.
Oh, there you go.
I went to this Asian market.
Different one. Always full. You went to always full.
Yes,
Always full. In Berlin.
yes. I'm sorry. I'm not from Burlington, my son. But anyway, I went to that and I says, oh, wow, an Asian market. You know, I'm so excited. I went in there and we started talking. The man was Chinese and we're both Chins. And then I said, well, my village, my family village is in a place called Toi San. And he said, so's mine. And it turns out that we're from the same area.
Yeah.
And it was really fascinating that, you know, we knew a lot of the same recipes and same, you know, just ideas about that area. Now, I wasn't born in Toi San, but I visited. So I know, you know, some of the things, and it was really great.
Now tell us a little bit where exactly is Toi San and what
Okay.
is the culture like there?
Okay, Toi San is on the southernmost point in China. Okay, and it's in Guangdong, or otherwise the older name was Canton, but Guangdong province. Okay, and my family and most of the Chinese who came first to America came from Toi San. Now, Toisan means in translation is table mountain. So it's a plateau region. Okay? And the Chinese who came from there came around 1840, 1850, 1860. And these are the Chinese people who worked the gold mines and built the western end of the railroads. So the majority of Chinese up until around, I say 1900, they were all from that one region. So my great-grandfather worked on the railroads.
Thank you for the history lesson. So me and Ray has, share some. I'm from Hong Kong, so it's same in the Guangdong province, and we understand each other a little bit, although the language, the dialect is like different. But we understand each other, and actually this is a dish that it's like a homemade dish. I just standing here smelling the mix of ginger and the mushroom and all. It just smells like home. Like I grew up in big buildings, and when you go home, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, everyone is cooking, and you smell all the rice smell. Every single you walk in the hallway, you just smell cooking.
Okay.
Oh, it's done. Oh.
Well, okay. So we'll have a little taste. It's in there.
Okay.
Did you bring it to a simmer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't have to boil it. Yeah. I mean, the beauty of it is that you want to have it just what's the word? Just hot. You don't boil it, otherwise you'll just wilt the vegetable down to nothing. You want to have the vegetable still have a little body.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just enough to cook though.
So Jason, the book is all about watercress. Where's Andrea get that inspiration from?
Yeah, well, the book is semi-autobiographical. So Andrea based it on a real experience from her childhood when she was growing up in Ohio and her parents saw watercress growing by the side of the road. She did change some aspects of the book to make it fit into a picture book format and to make the story more concise, I think. But it's more or less based on her own experience. So the main character, the protagonist, is Andrea herself. You putting some sesame oil on there, Dad?
A little bit of sesame oil.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
I think someone should have a taste.
Everyone. Sure. Thank you, Ray. What an honor to have a homemade soup from Ray. It's really good.
Yeah.
The chicken stock.
Yeah.
So fresh, like not store bought.
Yeah.
Really tastes the sesame oil.
Organic chicken.
Organic chicken.
Where did the chicken come from?
Yeah, I know where the chicken come from.
Pete's Greens.
From Pete's Greens.
Yes, Pete's Greens.
Well, it's not unusual that you say from my backyard. It could be in Melvin's kingdom, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I think it may have come from his front yard.
Anyway, it's really good. So Jason, how's it that I know you're a mixed race child? How? There you
Go
go.
on that camera.
How is it like growing up in Vermont? You grew up in Vermont, right?
I grew up in New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Yeah, on the border of Vermont, in Lai, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And it was a lovely place to grow up. And, I think, I'm mixed race, so maybe that has something to do with it. Then maybe being not second generation, but like a third generation, I didn't have the same kind of feelings and struggles with fitting in that Andrea had, or my dad had when they were kids. So I think I had a little easier time with it. Maybe it was the time I grew up, in the late 80s and 90s. So yeah, that's what it was like for me.
It's I know Wei a little bit, so it's just really special to know that I know Wei through a mutual mental health provider group. He's a psychologist and I'm a social worker. And through conversation, he's told me he actually went to art school. And Jason is a great artist. And how special about this book is about parent relationship, parent-child relationship,
Yeah.
and we have a father and son cooking here.
And my mother's an artist too. She was an art teacher at Oxford High School for 30 years. Was it 30 years or so? Yeah, I think the story, Watercress, the story of the book is really about learning about your family heritage and how that when you know the stories, when your family shares the stories with you, you can feel more connected to it and proud of it. And even if you look different or your family is not from New Hampshire or Vermont, you can still feel proud of your heritage. And it all comes, a lot of that comes from sharing stories, and like we're doing today, sharing food.
Mm-hmm.
So sharing food was a big part of it for me. My parents always cooked Chinese food,
So
regularly. So.
I want to eat more, so I'm going to let Jason do whatever.
Okay, so now I'll
next.
try and I'll attempt to cook the stir-fried watercress that's in the book. It's featured in the book. So right here I have some garlic. So the first step is to peel the garlic and mince it up. So, this is a trick, right? To smash the garlic, you can put the knife down and just smash it.
Look at you.
And make it easier to peel.
You know the deal.
I don't know if I'm good at this, but it makes it easier to peel.
What a knife over.
This is my parents' knife.
Yep.
I actually don't have one. A good Bordeaux, a cleaver.
This is very classic
Yeah.
Chinese. That we only have one knife.
Yeah.
That's it.
Only one.
It's only one you need.
Everything. We don't have small. We don't have big. We only have one.
Yeah. It's they trim the ends off. I think Mom told me, or maybe Dad, that having the bigger knife is safer. At least like the wider knife, right, is
Yeah.
safer
Really?
because
Oh, yeah.
you don't have the point, and you can put your knuckles right up against the back of it,
Oh.
and
Yeah.
your knuckles never leave, so you always feel where the knife is.
Never get
So you
cut.
can't-
Wow.
Well,
Some people maybe.
some people. I'm not gonna make that claim. So just mince up the garlic. Okay.
That's good. I have a 10-year-old and I'm trying to get her, cut stuff on her own, and she uses smallest knife and it seems
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
So that's good to know.
So I put it in.
So many
in
things we do
addition.
it for you do it and it's like we don't even think about it.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
we take it for granted.
Yeah.
And there is actually so much wisdom behind it.
The next step is the ginger. I already peeled.
You
this
feel that
ginger.
one.
So to make the TV show go faster, I peeled it ahead of time. And then I'll just slice the ginger up. My dad, for the soup, had big pieces because you don't eat the ginger in the soup. It's just flavors to throw off. But for this one, it's stir fried, so it's going to be minced up.
What
I
are
guess slivers, as people do slivers. But.
What are we stirring fry with?
So this will be the stir-fried watercress. It's very simple.
Just watercress.
Just the watercress. Oh, it's going to have some sesame seeds sprinkled on top for a little garnish. And that comes from the book because, see, I had to learn this. I always ate it with the soup, in the soup. Anyways, okay, that's probably good enough for now. I'll put it in a little dish to keep it, to transfer it. Okay, now I'm just going to prepare this with my little, prepare it ahead of time. We have the measuring spoons here. Oh, they're there. Behind my advertising.
Ray should got some intervention there. He's measuring.
Yeah, I know.
We need an intervention.
Yeah. Hey, which one was this? Oh, this was the, okay. Do just a little bit of that. That's like a teaspoon. Where'd the salt go? Oh, the salt's over here.
We store it for the soup.
Yeah. And the preparations are messed up. Just a little bit of salt, a little sugar, a little salt.
Yep.
So this is the
Okay.
new dish for you. What do you usually cook at home with Ray when you're growing up?
Like stir fried. Oh, like stir fried.
Yeah, we'll show you afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chicken and bok choy, beef and broccoli, classic.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's bring this over here. I gotta heat up the wok here. Go. Did I bring everything I need? Oh, I forgot to bring the watercress over. Okay.
So we didn't pick the watercress as much. This one we cook it bigger.
Yeah, so the watercress is just prepared like this big. It's not chopped or anything. And I left the stems on because they're stir frying. Get my stir fry paddle. See if this is waiting for this to heat up.
Now
Did I get the right one?
Chinese
Turn on the
like,
wrong one. Sorry. New kitchen, and it's induction stove. I never used one before.
yeah, Chinese always cook with fire,
Yeah.
and this is a little bit different.
And,
This is electric.
yeah, this one is induction, so we'll see. But actually, the test is you drop a little water on, and if it sizzles right away, that's hot enough. So I think a little drop just fell on, so I'm good. Yeah, it was in there already. So I'll use peanut oil, and it's soaking, so it's definitely hot enough.
Wow, that's hot so quick.
Yeah, that was quick.
This is
I'm actually going to turn it down a little bit
I know.
because my first thing is the garlic. The ginger first, and these hot. Okay, the ginger first. You let it. You try not to let it burn. Okay, and then the garlic. Where did my lid? Oh,
What do you need?
the water
Right there.
lid.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's up there. Okay. Okay. Burning.
That's why Chinese don't cook with
Okay.
electric.
Yeah. Okay. So we stir fry it around. Sorry for the burning garlic. Okay. Quickly stir it around. Put the lid on it for just like 30 seconds because it traps the steam. And then
You have chopsticks? You have chopsticks?
no, I didn't think of it. Okay, then we'll bring it around the side. Stir fry it again. There should be enough steam in here to create a little bit of fluff. I'm gonna let it go a little bit farther. Oh. steam it a little longer. Okay, thanks. Okay.
Now, a lot of people don't really know, Asian or Chinese. We don't really eat raw vegetable. We don't have a dish that is really raw vegetable. We cook all the greens.
Yeah,
We cook all our greens.
yeah.
Okay.
And, you know,
Put in the salt and sugar. Stir it around. And there it is. Very easy.
Oh, smells so good.
And
Smells really good.
set that. Oh, and then there's the sesame seed for the.
This is
there we
right
go.
there. I
And
saw
a
it's
little.
toast.
Sorry, where's the sesame? Oh, there it is.
Oh,
A little sesame oil. I probably should have put this on in water because maybe a little more to mix it.
use the veggie.
Can you speak some Cantonese? I think about.
Okay. Well, do you want to try it?
Sure, you go
You
ahead.
give me. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll
We
try it.
can all try a little bit.
It's okay. Good. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Let's see.
Don't tell me that here.
Do you cook at home?
I do. This one
It's new.
it's a newer one.
Oh, yeah.
It's good.
Very good.
Well,
The hot wok, we say wok chi, which is the air of the wok, is like the heat of the wok, really, really good.
Yeah, that was when you push it around the outside. I guess that's supposed to pick up the wok. What is it in Cantonese?
Wok hei.
Wok hei.
hei.
Yeah, wok hei.
Wok
Yeah,
hei.
air.
that's.
Chi.
Oh, okay. You said
Chi.
chi first, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Because I've already heard wok hei. Anyway, breath of the wok.
Oh, I'm supposed to be.
So those are the two watercress dishes, right? And,
Mhm.
do we have time for the
Want to do one more?
One more? Or
Sure.
we're
Okay.
losing viewers?
We'll do one more. We'll do it quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quick one.
Okay.
Let Dan, you'll run this one.
This is called velvet chicken. Now, what I did was, I took a chicken breast. Okay, here, come over this way. I took a chicken breast and I cut it into pieces, about like, see that size pieces? Okay. About a square inch, okay? And I made a mixture of an egg white and some cornstarch and wine, right? And I made a little slurry. So one egg white and a couple of teaspoons of cornstarch and the rice wine. Okay. Now, so I mixed it all up and I squeezed it by hand. And you always have to squeeze it by hand. You must get your fingers into it. Otherwise, it's not real. And then I'm not going to squeeze it right now because I have to cook. But I did it and then I put it in the refrigerator for about, it's been there for about an hour. Okay. Some people actually do it longer. And sometimes you don't have to, but again, it's better if you get it cold. Okay, so there it is. And then you get hot water. And this is hot water. And boiling, it's boiling now. And I put some oil. Okay, some oil in it. So the hot water is boiling with about, I'd say a quarter cup of oil. It's not, hasn't have to be, a lot of oil. And now I'm going to just parboil it.
That's interesting. Usually, the way that I see the way I used to is like they deep fry. They use a
Yeah.
huge oil,
Yeah, that's
hot oil, and
because,
then
yeah, that's the
restaurant style.
That's the restaurant style, and that's because they Americanized it simply because people like fried food in
Mhm.
America. Don't do that in China. It's not healthy either. So I did it for just literally 30 seconds. And can you see, it's just the outside is cooked, just the outside. Okay,
It's like cotton.
just the outside, and that coating around it is where the term velvet comes from, velvet chicken.
It's like cotton.
Okay, so I just cooked the outside, just the outside. Okay.
Yeah.
Leave that. Oops, excuse me.
That's okay.
And now I'm going to put the rest in. Here, I did this one. There you go. Now you can see. Put it right in. Okay. So again, no more than about 30 seconds, 60 seconds.
Now, why we want to do that?
Because
Before we cook
what it does is it creates a slight, the outside is cooked, and what it does is it locks in the juices in the center of the chicken. Okay, so now I'll take it out.
This was chicken breast, right?
Yeah, this was a chicken breast.
So usually chicken breast will dry out.
Yeah, but it could be dark meat too. Doesn't have. In fact, I can tell you that the Chinese prefer dark meat
Yeah.
because it is even more juicy
Yeah.
and tender.
Yeah.
But in any case,
Oh.
here you go.
It's funny that you go to Hong Kong, when I go home, everyone wants dark meat, but here people prefer
Yeah.
white meat, and actually dark meat is cheaper.
But it's more flavorful.
It's
It's much more flavorful.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to put this to the side because we don't need it anymore. Okay, so there's our parboiled chicken. Okay, and I'm going to just leave this right over here. All right. And then we need some butter. Okay. Now, one thing I did, this is a dried mushroom, okay? And you'll know it as the term shiitake, but in Chinese, we would call it ongu. Okay, so there it is, it's dried. Now, what you do is you get some hot water and you soak it so that it's soaked. You see that? And these have been soaked, and then I cut them. And they soften up. And so, oh, okay, I'm going to show you. This is what it looks like dried, and now it's soaked.
So how long do you need to soak it for?
Probably somewhere around, at least, I would say a half hour or more. And then until it's soft, basically you just feel it until it's ready. And then here is I'm going to cut one up right now. And so, and another one.
Now,
So-
shiitake is actually Japanese.
That's right, the name.
Yeah. Donggu is literally meaning winter mushroom.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's called winter.
Yeah. So, any case, there it is. And another handy thing I think I already showed you is when you have a big flat blade, after you cut it up, just scoop it right up and put it in. So there they are. Now I don't need the water, and I'm going to just drain the water.
Chinese is so clever since day one because now there's a lot of gadget. You cut your food, and then there's this spatula that they're selling everywhere that you
Oh.
just scoop. You don't need that. Just need a little knife.
That's right. And these are baby bok choy. Lovely. If you can get these, as opposed to the big long ones, the big bok choy is usually almost a foot long, tall, I mean. But I really prefer these. Are so delicious, so tender. Okay, so just chop off the end, and then they separate. And you see, it just separates out. Okay, like that. and beautiful little shoots. Okay.
They are also known as Shanghai bok choy.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Some
Okay.
people call it Shanghai bok choy.
Okay. So, and there they are. Okay. So we have to get that prepared. Then we like to use garlic. Here it is. I did exactly what Jason did. So I minced up garlic. And I'm going to mince up some ginger. Okay. Now, again, depending on what you like. Whoops. How much you like in the flavor. Okay. Okay, so that's all set. And I'll get my, one other thing, because you don't have to add this, but I always like to add cashews. And these are raw cashews. I always like those, add those in. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna come over here. So let's have this. Yeah, good. And also, it's a good idea to have a little bit of chicken stock right here. You see that? And I'm going to pull chicken stock. And I add a little bit of cornstarch. Where's the cornstarch, Mary? A little bit. I had it. Well, it's all right if I don't have it. Don't worry about it. I already know what to do. I'm going to come over here though. Not a problem. Let's see. That one is this one. Okay. That heats up really fast, so perfect. Okay, so the first thing.
Cornstarch slurry in that.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Just a teaspoon. So I'm going to put the oil in. This is the first time I use this.
Yes.
And, you know, I saw it smoke up really fast. This thing really,
Yeah, it's really good.
it surprised me how fast it went. I can hear it. Okay, that's good. And, you know, reason I didn't need that is because I still have some of this from here. I can use the cornstarch slurry that I had, so no problem.
Oh, from the
Okay,
chicken.
yeah.
Ah, we don't waste anything.
No waste.
No, we don't waste.
Okay, first thing. Okay, there it is. And I'm gonna turn this
Oh,
down. So
really? Yeah.
see it smoking. And what you do is you put the garlic in to flavor the oil. That's the key. Because what you want is you want to have that flavor. And you can smell it. And once it starts to give off the, we call it meal, right? The odor.
Aroma.
Yeah, the aroma. That's what. As soon as you get that, then do your vegetables. Now the nice thing about little Shanghai bok choy is that if you had it with and you go to the store and you find that you have the big stalks, and you cut the white part, and you cut it into smaller pieces. And we fry that first because it takes a little longer. Then you add the green with the soft one again. But with the Shanghai, or the baby bok choy as I call it, you just do it all together. Okay. And just let it sit there. Now you let it sit, and it gets that beautiful char, a little burnt. That's what makes it really good flavor, you know. And so you don't have to keep stirring it, but you want to get a little burn, a little char on it. Okay, just a little bit. That's good. I'm going to get this. sauce is ready. Let's let it sit there.
So what are they?
This is soy sauce, and this is oyster sauce. Okay.
Now that is the dark soy sauce. There's two different kinds of soy sauce. There's
Okay.
light soy sauce and dark soy sauce.
Okay. And now,
Yes.
and now that we have that started,
So I thought if you use
next,
light soy sauce, you have to double the amount
Oh!
because it's lighter.
No.
I put the chicken in.
Hear that sizzling.
Wow. And
Beautiful.
get that going, and this one, oh, good. Oh, there you go. Oops, I almost forgot this. There you go. You want the flavor too? Yeah, exactly. Then you saw I put the mushrooms in. Right? Put that all in there. And then this is when I put the ginger in. Okay? Because I want that flavor. So it tastes a little more fresh. Mix it up.
This is really home cooking. That's what we do every night at home.
Turn the heat down a little bit. Good. Now, what I usually do, I must admit, is I would fry this up a little bit. And I don't know if I have a pan here. Exactly. I should have done this a little sooner, but that's okay. Let's see if I can fake it. Here we go. But when you fry up the, when I'm lazy, I admit I'll just microwave it.
Now, can you toast it in a toaster oven too?
You know, I have not done that. I always find that, you know what it is? I like everything with a little bit of char, a little bit of burn. But, so what I'm doing here is I'm just going to heat up the oil and turn this down because I don't want this to overcook. But
Perfect.
it's close. And I'm going to put a little, oh, here it is. Okay. Get that hot. Okay.
Now, what does cornstarch do to a dish?
It's going to create the gravy.
Mm.
I'm going to put a little soy sauce. And Linda is absolutely right. This is the thicker.
The thicker,
And
the
then-
darker. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the oyster sauce. And again, you just have to taste it and so I'm just going to put it all, let it just get nice.
This is very Cantonese cooking too.
Yeah, this is,
Very classic Cantonese cooking. Soy sauce and
Yeah.
Oyster sauce.
Yeah.
My kid now, she dip oyster sauce in green beans.
oh, is that right? In green
She
beans.
really truly mix up the American and and Chinese.
My uncle would make steak. Like he did, you know, steak, and grill it up, and then pour oyster sauce on it. That was the flavor. Not Worcestershire.
Yeah. Oyster sauce is actually quite it's really classic, but when you read the ingredient, it's
Yeah.
quite
I don't.
quite
I don't
yeah.
read the
Just
ingredients.
don't read the ingredients. Now that say the real oyster sauce in Hong Kong, there's a really small area that they call it Asia Venice, that people live on the water and have a small house, and they make homemade oyster sauce. It's like
Really?
like no junk, like no factory made. It's like homemade.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah,
Never read the ingredients
if you don't get
for
the,
I know.
yeah, you have to get the right brand because
You have to get the right brand.
the cheap oyster sauce is for cornstarch and fillers.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so can you see that I've browned?
Yeah, look
A little
at that.
brown. That's the thing. You gotta get a little brown. And then always tastes good. And then turn this off.
Now when I work in a Chinese restaurant when I was
And I mix this up.
my teenager year, and we just dump the whole thing in the deep fryer, the nuts in the deep fryer.
Oh.
Yeah. Before we put it in the dish.
Okay. I'll just use this dish. How's that? Okay. So,
I'm excited.
we have rice.
I got to eat. I know I got to eat.
We have rice. Do we?
Yes,
Have rice?
we do.
Okay, let's everybody get a plate here. Get a little bowl of rice.
It's beautiful.
Look at the glaze from the cornstarch. You get a little glaze. That's how the cornstarch does. No.
Okay. Here, Linda.
Oh, thank
And
you.
you?
Oh, I have the
And
honor
you have
to
the
try.
honor to try it. And then maybe we'll put it right there.
Thank you. I'm gonna try the mushroom. And the chicken perfect is in the pan. Wow, the chicken is so soft,
Yeah.
so silky. So soft and silky.
Let me
It
have-
really tastes like
Oh,
home.
You're done.
Okay, thank you. So, you know what? Let's have, get some more chopsticks. This one I don't think has been used. Let's have our camera person. Songhee, come on over here.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
there you go.
Okay.
Now you know Chinese eat rice. We don't pick up the rice. We like shuffle it in our mouth. Yeah. Do you do that? Do you?
I can't eat.
Thank
I
you.
can't eat with chopsticks on a plate. People
No,
sometimes
no, thank you.
like I get a plate and I'm like I can't eat
Try
this.
that. See
I
what-
need the bowl so I can put it in my mouth.
Oh my gosh. If I had to describe the flavor or the texture, I would say it's like silken tofu. I don't think I've ever had chicken breast this tender and silky.
Well done. Yeah,
Mm.
it's really super.
This is organic chicken from a local
Pete's
farm.
Greens.
Pete's Greens, yeah.
Yes, Pete's Happy Chickens.
Is Pete over around here?
Yeah. So Pete's farm is about 4 doors down from here. So
That's a
Oh,
nice
four
day.
doors down.
yes,
Come here.
we're very fortunate because he produces wonderful organic produce. And now some chickens. too.
And
Sorry, I keep
you-
eating.
this is Miss Mary here, kiss on the mom.
Yeah, does
Okay.
mom want to come?
This is Jason's
Yeah.
mom, Mary.
There you go. You're standing.
Come right in.
I
Yeah,
can just
come on in.
stand over here. Don't be shy.
I know.
And I didn't have to cook. Yeah. So I'm so hungry. I'm going to say thank you so much, Ray.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Jason.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for watching, everyone.
And-
Thanks, Dad, for
Yep.
cooking.
How special there's
Saving me.
4 Asian here in the middle of nowhere cooking. Thanks for watching.
Yep.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Wow, thank you so much, Jason, Ray, Linda, Songhee. What a great episode. You could definitely tell all this food was made with love. We so appreciate you all being with us in the Vermont Wild Kitchen tonight. As always, folks, thank you for tuning in. If you haven't yet, you can buy Watercress. We're going to put the book link in the chat. Definitely check it out. It is worthwhile with beautiful illustrations. And again, thank you to everybody for tuning in. We will be back next month, the third Thursday of the month at 5 p.m. with another episode of the Vermont Wild Kitchen. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you soon.